handed Don this fancy magazine, Suburban Serving Fuquay-Varina. We're always impressed that it is like this professional print quality book almost. And told him to scope it out for us because there's always some bit of information in there that somehow we've missed about Fuquay.
Yes, it's probably, we don't have a local paper anymore, so this thing is probably the closest there is to a local monthly magazine paper.
Yeah. So that tobacco barn that Johnny and I had seen them tearing out down there in the old Varina part of town was torn down so that they could put up a new addition to Aviator Brewing Company, a new restaurant, and move, I guess, the brewery over in that direction. And
right, expand it. Yep, they're going to put a skate park, more parking places.
The Dave and Buster's style video arcade, they said. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And rooftop bar. They're going to be, you're going to brew beer over there also. So anyway.
Well, they're already brewing beer, but they're moving the operation to a different spot, I guess.
It's expanding, yeah.
Yeah. What did you say about the...
Ground baking in July, hope to be open in November.
Wow, that's industrious.
Right.
But the... how busy it is, how the economy of it. Tell
me. The Aviator, which is our local tap room, it said it's now in the top 2% in the triangle for non-chain
microbrewery kind of things.
Well, for restaurants. In other words, they sell restaurant and bars. They sell more product there. They're in the top 2% for independent restaurants. So
right,
most of the restaurants here are chains, just like everywhere.
Right. Well, we're lucky to have the Mason Jar Tavern, which is a locally owned 2-restaurant business, and Aviator, both in the Fuquay area. Right. Yep. Our viewers wouldn't know, but Aviator sources to some of the local grocery stores. If you want to go in and get a 6-pack of their beer, you can go to Harris Teeter or whatever and pick it up there.
They're getting really close to that limit of... North Carolina has a limit on microbreweries, and once you get to that limit, you have to hire a distributor. It's just like the dealer network. Oh, God. Yes, you must hire a distributor. You can no longer distribute your own beer. You have to hire a middleman. And I don't know how close Aviator is getting to that limit. And I'm sure that was all well planned into this, that they don't go over that limit, because once you get a... distributor involved, then you don't make any money. The distributor, just like everything else, the middleman makes all the money.
Well, I'll drive by there today and get some more dash cam footage. When I go to the butcher shop, I'm passing Aviator, going right in front of Aviator. Basically, there's a Pokemon Go, 2 gyms there. People play while they have their beer, and it's a pretty interesting over there in that part. They bring good business for Fuquay, and it's a nice, clean, good run business. So it's always busy.
Always busy.
Don and I aren't quite as busy today as we have been the last 2 days. No road trip today.
No road trip.
I'm fixing to take Joey to Guardian Angel so he can volunteer working on the dock, moving people's donations around.
Yep.
And Don's fixing to run.
Yep.
Yeah, he's got a new Jack video, so he's excited to run, pile up, and watch Jack.
Right, he put me to sleep.
Good morning, Ruby. Oh my goodness, it's actually afternoon. Tux is back there asleep on the mulch. He really likes the mulch. Hey buddy, how you doing today?
Good.
Yeah, you ready for volunteering for a couple hours?
Yep.
Cool. I love you. See you in a little while. They've done such a nice job on this display. After he's just taking it all home with me. Well, I managed to steer clear of all the knickknacks in that case, even though they were gorgeous. The willow tree was marked 15, and I wanted it, but I didn't think that was as good a deal as I would have liked, so I passed. I'll go back and get Joey. I've got about an hour and 20 minutes now until he's done with his time. So I'm going to go past Aviator now and try to get some dash cam footage of you know, their current layout and where they've taken down the tobacco barn, where they're going to put in the new stuff, just because it's interesting to see, I think. So straight ahead here to my left is the old train depot, and that's where Aviator Brewing Company has their bar area. Usually it's very busy on the outside, but the weather's not so nice today, so it's a little less busy. Got to be really careful for people crossing here. This is the old Varina part of town. The main street that I'm usually on playing Pokemon Go is just a half a mile in the other direction, and that's the Fuquay part of town. Here on the right is their restaurant and smokehouse facility, and where they brew the beer. Those two areas are going to stay, and they're just going to add the new restaurant over there at the big warehouse site. And that's Varina in a nutshell, basically one block, ending over here with the butcher shop, which used to be a bank. So this is where they took out a very old and large tobacco warehouse. And this is going to be the home of the new Aviator restaurant and brewing facility. It's about 1 block back and 1 block over from their current bar and restaurant and brewing area. So a very short walk. So I caught up with some of the Pokemon Go players up in Holly Springs and did one Lugia raid. Not a shiny, didn't get him, and didn't get any rare candies. I got some other good stuff, but it wasn't the most profitable raid I've done. So I'm going to go shop for just a few more minutes before it's time to go back and pick up Joey. But I wanted to spend a few minutes talking about the Tesla Model X accident that happened on one of the freeways out in California yesterday. Dawn and I were really sad to see the accident scene, and then later on hear that the driver had passed away. Yeah, that's really rough. Because Dawn and I are Tesla fans and we own a Model X, of course we were interested to try to understand what happened in that accident. And some details have come out, and maybe that's all that's going to come out, and maybe there will be more. I don't know. But one of the topics of conversation just had to do with serious accidents involving electric vehicles in general, whether they're Tesla or Nissan or any of the other cars that have lithium-ion batteries in them. So I just wanted to take a moment and say that Tesla has a really good website. It's at tesla.com/firstresponder. And there is very, very, very detailed information out there about how first responders can stay safe when working on an accident scene involving any of the Tesla vehicles, Roadster, S, 3, or X. Okay. I took a minute to read over the one for the X, even though it's not really meant for the driver per se. And it really has a lot of diagrams and just a lot of, I thought I appreciated knowing those things, even if I wouldn't be using them per se. It shows where the airbags are and where the high voltage cables are. And Dawn and I learned where the rear HVAC assembly is. We didn't know that. That was new to us. So that's interesting. I would say if you are a current Tesla owner that you might want to go out and read the PDF for your car. It just makes for interesting reading. I feel very comfortable driving a car with a battery pack. I am not worried about it. As a matter of fact, back in the 80s, I was driving a 1968 Cadillac Coupe de Ville. Happened to be red with a white interior. It was a convertible coupe, and the car caught on fire while I was driving it. The gas line either had been intentionally cut or was old and had split, and we were never sure because of course the hose caught on fire, and therefore you really couldn't tell. Thankfully, I had only driven it a couple miles from where I was living at the time, and I drove it to a mall for a car show where there were police personnel and folks with fire extinguishers, and they were able to get the car out pretty quick. The car was restored, but it was never drove the same after that. You know, the distributor cap was melted and all the spark plug wires and spark plugs had to be changed, and it was just a mess. But so I have firsthand experience with actually driving a car and pulling up to a stop and it being on fire. Scary thing, really scary. But I'm not worried. I think Tesla has done a lot to ensure that the battery pack stays intact in almost all situations except the most traumatic, which yesterday's accident obviously was quite traumatic. So, and I'm sure if they learn anything from yesterday's accident that they can do better, the kind of company that Tesla is, they'll make changes and they'll make improvements. So I trust in Tesla. There, I said it. The only thing I've done with Ruby that is different from other cars, and it's only because it's a Ruby specific thing, is that I have had Johnny watch the video on how to pop the speaker cover off of the Falcon Wing door and pull the emergency release. I guess I would love sometime if I was someplace with a car where, not my car because I don't want to risk breaking the speaker clips, the clips on that snap-on cover, but where, you know, he could actually see it off or take it off. That would be one step better. But he's seen the video. He understands there's an emergency release there. He knows if airbags have been deployed, if there's no other quick exit from the car that he sees, either in the front or the back, that he, you know, has permission to get that speaker cover off anyway. He can pull the emergency and, you know, try to get out of the car. So because he drives back there, because he's old enough to do that, I thought he should know. You know, it's really lots of cars probably have similar car specific emergency you know, egress points or things that folks should know, and they should check with their manual, because, you know, you want to know that in advance, right? Not when you need to know it. But I feel empowered. I feel empowered having looked at where the airbags are on Ruby and the other things in the PDF document, and I feel empowered having taught Johnny, you know, and myself how to get out of the back if it was a emergency situation. So knowledge is good, right? But we'll see what else comes out of yesterday's accident, if anything. And again, you know, Dawn and I were just very sad that the driver passed away. And yeah, that was just a really rough day for yeah, Tesla people yesterday. It started out sunny today, but just like the weatherman said, rain to begin early afternoon. So it's been 2 hours and I'm back to pick up Joey. How'd it go today, bud?
Went really well. Had a lot of productive work on the dock and everybody was really nice.
Did you have to get down off the dock to go help get anything out of a vehicle?
A few times, yeah.
Well, you like it colder than warm, and you're not going to melt in the rain, so I guess that the weather didn't really bother you.
No, it was perfect weather today.
So we'll try to get you back in a couple weeks when I have you on the weekend again?
Yep.
Yeah, cool. So he's halfway through with his required, but he told me he was enjoying it so much that he might, you know, want to do it even past the required hours. So, way cool. It is 39 degrees and flat out chilly out there now. 25 miles today. That's mostly because I made that little jog up to Holly Springs for that one Pokemon Go Lugia raid battle. So I'm pretty sure I'm in for the night. It's not very nice out there at 39 and raining and the chance of a snowflake later on. I think we're in for the night. I'm going to make fajitas. We'll probably watch a movie. Just nice, quiet, peaceful evening now.